Each day, men and women have a variety of responsibilities to maintain. Establishing yourself professionally and attaining a personal life of fulfillment are usually at odds in our society. These clashes can lead to an unfulfilled existence. Have you had enough of this constant discontentment? It's time to change your perspective at Live Life Wealthier. Listen in on conversations that reveal the keys to living a full life. Learn how to achieve true wealth in the 4 realms of L.I.F.E: love, inspiration, family, and enterprise. This is your guide to breaking free from a rut and maintaining a healthy balance between your personal and professional lives. Marta Skeek-Herrick is your host.
Welcome to our Live Life Wealthier community. Our listeners and viewers, we have an incredible treat for you. And before I introduce our guest speaker today, I would love to share a little bit more information about him. He is, before I even reveal his name, he is our #1 global branding expert. He elevates leaders to monetize their mission and maximize their influence. The one, the only, Rey Perez is the CEO and founder of multimedia marketing and event promotions company AMP Productions. Rey is a sought-after inspirational speaker, talk show host, successful entrepreneur, philanthropist, and elite business coach who leads masterminds, marketing seminars, and socially infused networking events nationwide. Leveraging over 15 years of sales and marketing experience, Rey and his team create worldwide celebrity brands for top entrepreneurs and professionals who want to dominate their niche or industry. So my friends, it is my pleasure to bring on Rey as our guest speaker today, and we are so excited to have you, Rey.
Ever wished you could control what people say about you when you leave the room? That's the magic of celebritizing your brand. Meet Rey Perez, the #1 global branding expert. For nearly 2 decades, Rey has elevated countless entrepreneurs, speakers, and coaches, supporting them to dominate their niche and explode their sales. Through Rey's revolutionary 360 marketing system and multimedia production company Amp Your Brand, you'll unlock the secrets to crafting a captivating brand story that resonates with your ideal audience. Mastering video marketing and social media to reach a global network, building a seamless system that manages your brand effortlessly. With Rey's methods, his clients experience unprecedented success, achieving 6, 7, even 8-figure sales. He's not just a branding guru. Rey's a best-selling author and award-winning speaker who has been seen on ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox, and featured in several publications such as Forbes, Entrepreneur, USA Today, and Los Angeles Tribune, just to name a few. Rey shares the stage with industry titans like Les Brown, Jack Canfield, and Kevin Harrington. When he's not building empires, you'll find Rey skydiving, scuba diving, or giving back with his nonprofit Influence with Love. Are you ready to unlock your full potential and dominate your niche? Visit whoisreyperez.com to learn more and find the perfect service to amp your brand.
Oh, thank you so much, Marta. I'm super excited to be here.
Awesome. So Rey is, I know I gave him a grandiose introduction because that's the introduction that he deserves. Rey is also a friend of mine. We do a lot of business together. We network in similar circles. Rey is such an inspiration, not only because he has cracked the celebrity code, not only because he has an incredible, successful business, but the thing about Rey is Rey walks the talk. Rey doesn't just talk about things and let the chips fall. Rey actually does what he says. And when he does that, Rey leads with a purpose, not only in making money, not only in making impact in his life, his business life, his clients' lives, but he really, really takes it to the top level and brings in his expertise in business to every single thing that he does. And he walks the walk in life, and he does it in a way where he lives life wealthier. And the only thing we want to make sure we know while we live life wealthier is, how can you be a superstar and an entrepreneur and a friend and a business owner and soon to be dad and so many other things and still have your life in order and flow? And how is it even possible? Ray, I mean, this is a completely open floor for you. I really need you to be honest with us here. How do you do it?
Well, I'll admit it's not always perfect, and it's not always easy flowing. There's a lot of ups and downs. There's a lot of challenges, and I think in anyone's life, no matter how great it is, you're going to have a lot of defining moments, and it's not really about how great everything is working. It's more about how you deal with the challenging times in your life. And I think for me, that's one of the biggest things that I believe makes me successful, is not that I got everything working perfectly, is that I have core values that allow me to deal with the challenging times that life is going to throw my way in a very positive manner. And my belief system is, number one, to be flexible, meaning things change. You have an appointment at a certain time and they changed it, or somebody said, "Oh, we need to do this," and instead they wanted to do that, and not freaking out and saying, "No, I had all this plan," and no. Okay, so now how do we adjust and how do we move to make that work? And I always talk about martial arts. I studied martial arts when I was younger. And one of the whole things about martial arts is to be fluid in motion. So if somebody's throwing a punch, you just flow the opposite direction and just flow with the energy. And I think in life and business is the same exact way. If you can just learn to be flexible and be fluid like water, which is my sign, I'm a Cancer, so maybe it makes it easier for me than others. But if you can just be flexible, it's going to allow you to deal with issues a lot easier. Second thing is to be very open-minded. Don't be closed-minded and not open to things, right? Open to change, open to new experiences, open to the possibility of something different than what you believe or the way that you operate. So always be open-minded. And then third is to operate in high integrity, right? I believe a lot of people do not actually know what integrity means. I think everybody knows the word integrity and has some type of like perception of integrity. But I learned what integrity was in 2009 when I took the Landmark Education Forum for the very first time. And they taught me that integrity is not a good, bad, right, or wrong. Integrity means that you honor your word. And when you honor your word, things work. When you're out of integrity and don't honor your word, then there's no workability and things don't work. And I always stress, it's not like you're out of integrity, you're a bad person, or you're out of integrity, shame on you. No, you're out of integrity, things are not going to work. So being flexible, being open-minded, and being of high integrity for me is really one of the most important things. And it's impossible to be integrity all the time. Integrity is a constant decision that you're making throughout the course of every single day of your life. And if you fall out of integrity, your responsibility is to get back into integrity. So if you have an appointment and you're late, then you don't show up late to the appointment and apologize. You call as you're late in the car or the subway or the airplane or wherever you're at and say, "Hey, I'm running late. I will be there at this time," and you recommit to be in integrity. And if you're not going to make it in that time, you call back again and say, "I'm going to be late again," and you recommit. And that process of consistently making the decision to be in integrity, I believe, is what makes things work and why I'm able to achieve what I've achieved. And, there's been times when I've been out of integrity and I've honored that and acknowledged, wow, that did not work out because I was out of integrity in that situation, or I wasn't open-minded, or I wasn't flexible. And that's just how I've lived my life for a very long time. And it's been working for me really well now.
I love that you said that. And integrity. So I love synonyms here. And I'm going to point back to something you said initially when you were talking about your core values. Your core values help you flow and your core values or energy. It's a flow of energy. And what's really interesting here is that the integrity, and when you say when you're out of integrity, just things don't work. When you're in integrity, things end up working. And there's a common denominator here. It's like integrity's like energy flow. And when it works together, it flows naturally. And you had mentioned that it's a responsibility. It's a responsibility to acknowledge when we ourselves are out of integrity or in integrity or out of the positive energy and in the positive energy flow. And then we can add more resources to help us flow better. I love that you said that. Now, knowing you, I know that you start your day with probably an amazing routine or an amazing process or a step-by-step solution so that you can get yourself into positive energy flow. You can get yourself into integrity. What is that for you, Ray?
I'm a very systems and processes type of person. My human design is a projector, and I'm actually a mental projector, which means I can kind of see into the future, and I like to structure and organize things. And to start my day, I used to choose a bunch of different things to do, like read, journal, exercise, meditate, pray, do affirmations, gratitude. So being the structured person that I am, I said, okay, well, I'm doing all these different things and not always doing all of them, but doing a handful of them. I said, what if I create a structure to be able to consistently follow these things that I'm doing and share it with others? Because people used to ask me all the time, what do you do? So I created something called the morning miracle routine. And I basically added all of these different selections of meditation, praying, working out, journaling, and you get to choose. I like to choose a minimum of four of those, of what, there we go. So at the top, it shows you what are the different options to choose from on a daily basis of what you want to do. I like to at least choose four or more. Then from choosing these different breathing meditations, reading, writing, journaling, revising your top 10 goals, exercising, doing your I am affirmations. I am powerful. I am sexy. I am a manifester, whatever that is, or I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my clients, my business, because when you start an attitude of gratitude and you start in a positive way, your day will reflect the way you start. If you get out of bed and you stub your toe and you're like, oh, shoot. And then it's just a ripple effect. And I think they talk about that in the movie The Secret, when you're manifesting, anything you want in your life through the law of attraction. Law of attraction is like gravity. It doesn't care if you are attracting negative or positive. However you are operating is what the law of attraction is going to give you. So I said, if I'm going to be intentional about how I'm going to start my day, then the law of attraction is going to abide by my intentions of having this positive energy flow, and it's going to give it right back to me throughout the course of the day. So we also have some things called mantras, right? And there's two different beautiful mantras with the translation. Amen. I bow to wisdom inside of me, my higher self. Peace. Om Namah Shivaya Shanti. And Om Shanti Om, which is aim, peace, amen. Mm-hmm. And then I also like to start off the day with saying, dear Lord, my intention today is blank. Insert your intention. So my intention today is to have lots of fun. My intention today is to be able to bless a person that I have not met before. My intention today is to have a wonderful day. My intention today is to be filled with joy. Whatever you want, but if you declare and set your intention to our higher power, then there's a lot greater chance that intention is going to come true and you're going to manifest it. And then there's a beautiful morning prayer that we shaped into a heart, because like for me, it just like fills my heart every time I read it. And it's just such an empowering motivational prayer that really talks about what we should be grateful for, and thanking God for everything we have, and also asking him for everything that we can have and that's in store for us. And there are some examples that I just wanted to give people of the affirmations, the gratitude. I am loved, I am blessed, I am trustworthy, I am unique, I am strong, fit, good looking, happy, you name it. And then at the bottom, I have this really amazing clearing protocol that I learned from one of my spiritual coaches. So I added that, where you're just really requesting the universe and all the energy to be cleared of you, so that you can be an open conduit to receive really what you put out, right? So if you're putting out positive, if you're putting out love, then that's what you're going to receive back. And this clearing activation really declares that you are putting that energy out so that you can receive it back for yourself as well, and to give it to others.
Amazing. Amazing. And for those that have not yet had the privilege to know Ray, and I encourage you to reach out to him, dabble in what he's doing, try to research him a little bit, because what you're going to find is an authentic individual who really walks the talk. And what's interesting here is Ray has just shared with us something that works for him in the morning, and he calls it the morning miracle routine. And what's very interesting and unique about Ray is when he does it and he figures out that formula for himself, he then helps others do the same. And what's really interesting in the graphic that Ray has created for his morning miracle routine, you, Ray, shared this with others because it's been a successful formula for you, right?
I mean, that's my entire business. And the success of my business is on that principle. And the principle is, I practice what I preach. If I do something that works for me, then I will share that. If I do something that doesn't work for me, I'm not going to share it. And I'm definitely not going to share something that I don't know works for me, which unfortunately a lot of people do. A lot of people teach something, share information, which seems valuable and seems correct, but they're not personally actively practicing what they're teaching. And for me, going back to integrity, I only preach what I practice, and I practice what I preach. And that is super important to me. And I always give the advice that if you're going to hire someone, whether it's for marketing, branding, business consulting, when they show you what they're going to offer and present to you that you're going to pay money for, revise it and say, okay, great. So I'm going to pay you X amount for all of this. Can you please show me how you use these services in your own business for yourself? And a good percentage of the time, people can't. Because just because they sell something doesn't mean they actually utilize it. And I only like to work with people that actually utilize their own services that they give. And that's what I believe in.
Well, and I think I will speak to this personally as well, because we have used your services and I know you walk the talk because you're specifically instructing us to do things in a certain way. And you have the personal backup of what's worked for you, and the individuals and companies that rave about you, that are your raving fans, know that you always support them in a way that's absolutely authentic. And what's very interesting about this is that you have absolutely no problem as well to me or to your other clients to go in and say, listen, what you're doing is not working, and this is why. From my experience, this is how it has worked. How can we utilize your gifts, your talents with my formula, meaning your formula, to get you to that better position, even if it means we have to refine everything, right?
It's interesting you say that. I literally had this conversation with someone yesterday. I said, because of my human design of being a projector, and if you don't know what human design is, there's 5 different human designs, and mine is a projector, mental projector specifically, and I'm a 6'2", and 6'2" means my purpose on this planet is to teach people how to be the best version of themselves. That is what I'm here to do. And it just happens that my business actually does that for people. So I'm 100% in alignment with my divine purpose in what I do here in this physical world. And I was having this conversation yesterday with a client and friend. And I said to her, I said, look, it's the way I'm built. If you tell me an idea of something that I don't believe is logistically sound and possible, I'm going to tell you, I'm cursed with knowing if something's going to work and why it's going to work or not it's going to work. And I cannot support something or I can't entertain a fairy, dream that people like, oh, I want to do this and have it. And I'm like, okay, that's not going to happen. But I can't, it's not in me to be like, that's such a great idea. Oh my God. Yes, that would be wonderful. Like the majority of other humans do. I can't do it because I know if it's going to work or not. Why? Because I have divine intuition. I have 20 years of experience and I'm a projector, which means I can think of all the logistical situations that will occur over the next 27 steps. And when most people are just thinking about the first 3 steps, I'm already way in advance thinking of this is not going to work because of all these reasons or because it's going to be too much money. It's not going to be profitable, yada, yada, yada. And I told her, I said, if you want someone to support your ideas and cheer you on, you could talk to my videographer, Julian, because he's really great at doing that. But don't ever come to me. But if you want the straight up truth, if it's going to work or not, then come talk to me because I'm going to tell you exactly how it works. And I'll also tell you if it's a sound idea and why, and what are the tweaks we need to do to get it work. And I've never, ever, ever, ever had a plan of action that I have chosen to go after and put into place that has not worked. I've had it not work exactly the way I planned it and I thought it was going to work because you have to be flexible, open-minded, and an integrity to make things work. But there's nothing that I've ever said, I want to do this. And I was like, man, that was a flop. That didn't work. Never in my life have I had something not work. With that being said, I'm also very clear of why things work or don't work, which really comes back to the belief in what you have, right? You first have to believe it.
Absolutely.
And then being able to have the right people around you to support you. In business specifically, I always talk about the analogy of business being like a puzzle. There's all these different puzzle pieces you need to have a successful business.
Mm-hmm.
And even though having a lot of these pieces to the puzzle is important, knowing the right order to put the pieces is actually what's most important. I watch entrepreneurs and business owners all the time spend time, money, and energy investing in these important puzzle pieces that are not necessary right now. They're necessary and important, but they're like 2 years in the future necessary and important, but they're spending their time, money, and energy today on these important business puzzle pieces in out of order. And I believe that is one of the biggest reasons why it is so challenging for entrepreneurs to have thriving, successful businesses is because lack of clarity. And it's mainly lack of clarity in what order and what puzzle pieces do I need first to build this business properly. And I've just been blessed enough that I've been divinely guided over the last 20 years of business to start figuring that out for myself. Yes, a lot of ups and downs. Yes, a lot of money spent in trial and error. But because I'm always refining and making things better consistently, I'm able to create a duplicatable process.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing I want to mention that's super important is a word called distinctions.
Okay.
Distinctions is what separates great advice from great applicable advice. What do I mean by that? Because you could be giving great business advice, but you have to understand the distinction. Does that advice specifically transfer to your particular situation that you're in at this particular moment in the time that you're in? Because just because someone gives you great business advice doesn't mean it's 100% applicable for your particular situation or in the particular moment in time.
Mm-hmm.
And that distinction is a huge challenge that most people are not aware of. Oh, so-and-so Tony Robbins' business coach told me this, and that's what I need to do. No, what he said is 100% accurate. But if you're a stage 5 business and your business is a stage 3 business, so what he said is applicable once you get to be in a stage 5 business, which you're currently not. So what you need to be doing is something else to get yourself to stage 5, so then you can take his amazing, business advice and apply it. And that gets people stuck a lot.
And that is case in point, my friends, of who Rey is. And thank you for sharing that passion, because I don't think it was intentional, but it's very intentionally guided because that's who you are, which is very interesting because you have also said that you have been led with divine purpose and divine guidance. And the mission of Live Life Wealthier is to create a conscious, intentional, and elevated entrepreneur who is empowered to become more profitable, effective, and efficient with their financial resources to elevate their mission and others in the process. And I think you are actually a beautiful example of living that mission. So I really appreciate you. I'm very grateful for you for being here, which leads me, you have created your company core values that demonstrate not only your core values, your open-mindedness and high integrity, and now you have actually transitioned that into your business. Can you share with us how you came about this and why this is so important to you?
Yeah, I think lots of big corporate companies have, their mission statement, their vision statement, their company culture. But I think smaller entrepreneurs and business owners forget to do this very important piece, which starts with you as the person. Like, what are your values that you want to live by? And this is actually a lot more difficult than people realize, because even though we know our values, most people don't sit there and actually start writing down, these are my values, right? They just yeah, I know I have good values, but what are your values? So what we did is I actually Googled values and looked through a huge list of values, because maybe there's a value out there that I want to have, or I do have, but I don't know what it's called, or I haven't thought about it. So
And as a word expert, you always remind us that the words that you choose are going to define not only your current message, but the message that you intend to be carried moving forward.
And that's because the words that you're speaking don't only influence the people listening to it, it also influences yourself, because you are also hearing what you're saying. And if you really go back and you really look into divine research, language are really just symbols, which turns into words. And that's the symbols come from the voice of God. So when we're really talking about we can manifest what we speak, and that is whether you think it's woo-woo or you don't believe it, doesn't matter. It is 100% true. So the words you choose to speak to the world and to yourself really matter. So basically, we put together all the values, the words that we believe, or at least for myself, and then I brought this into our company culture and share with my team. Anyone we're considering hiring, we ask them to read these values, and we ask them, are you in alignment with this? Is this something and if they're not, then they just might not be a good fit, regardless of their skill set in the business. The core values and the company culture is actually more important than their skill set. And if you scroll down after the core values, then you have something called a vision statement. And a vision statement is what we're projecting out into the future. So for those that don't know the difference between a vision statement, positioning statement, and mission statement, vision is who we want to be. This is the vision we're walking into. For us, we're the world's leading socially conscious branding and marketing agency that elevates entrepreneurial leaders to maximize their influence and monetize their mission so they can live their full potential. So that is what we are living into. So we're casting that vision so we can live into that. Now, a positioning statement is what your client would be saying about you. What I want our client to be saying about our business. That is a position in the marketplace. So our clients would be saying, This is a company that partners with me to become my team in the area of business growth and development. They allow me to have the freedom to focus on my core business while elevating my personal brand presence and authority in the world so I can impact more people and monetize my mission. That's what you, as my client, should be saying about my company. And next is the mission statement, which is really the purpose that we're here. I live my life with integrity. I honor my word. I'm committed to being a positive impact in others' lives. I lead by example. I show love and kindness to all. May everything I say be good and provide value to those around me. That is my personal mission statement that I live by, and I share this with my team and my clients in our company culture. And the most important is do the right thing at the right time for the right reason all the time. Not sometimes, not on Tuesday, not with this client, all the time.
Ooh, that is heavy and enlightening and clarifying. And what I love most about this is that, once again, you've created this for your clients. We're creating this for our Live Life Wealthier community. It's a replicable process. It's something that you live by. It's something you've already stamped, and others can do it as well. And it's a proven process to do what for your business, right?
So that's the interesting part. So I create this for me. Then I create it for my company. Then we duplicate it for our clients. And that's the process. So like, what is going to serve Ray the most so that Ray can serve others? How do I develop and teach that to the closest peers around me, which is my internal team? And then how do I share that with my clients so they can do the same thing and receive the same? Because I believe everyone should have what I just showed for their business and share it with their team members, share it with their clients. And before you hire anyone, they read that. And if they're not in alignment, you're not hiring them. So what does that do? That creates what I call the triple dip. And you've heard me say this before. I love triple dipping, meaning I do one action and I get a minimum of 3 results from that action. So I created this document for myself, but it also benefits my team and benefits my clients. Triple dip. I did the work one time and get 3 results from that action.
I love that. One stone, multiple birds, but I think that's a more ethical.
Yeah, I don't want to kill anything. So like I've changed it to triple dip. I don't want to kill 3 birds with one stone.
Yes, well, exactly. I don't want to kill them either.
That was my old paradigm of thinking, you know? I'll give you another one.
Please.
When you're doing events and you want to get butts in the seats, I have shifted it to hearts in the seats.
Yes.
Because there's a different, remember when I talked about language, right? Like, I don't want to get butts in the seats. I want to get hearts in the seats. Like, that's what I'm committed to doing. I'm committed to serving people, not just getting them so I can make money. And that language shift affects how you feel, how your team feels, and how your clients feel. And that's kind of what I teach alongside personal branding and marketing. It's your mission also that you're sharing along with everything else you're doing.
When was it in your life, Ray, that you focus on personal branding, and that that business is a tool to get people to their next level, right? When did you start transitioning to, or has it always been the case, where you're incorporating more of the spiritual, the consciousness, the divine alignment, divine energy? When was it maybe the question is, when did you realize that was happening for you and your clients and your business?
It's been an ongoing blossoming flower. Like there's multiple times throughout my life that I can pinpoint like, oh, you know, but there is no one thing. It's a stacking of multiple situations and experiences throughout my life that has continued to validate this internal intuition that I've always had. And it's just gotten stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. And obviously, the more I do it and the better results I get, then obviously it validates it even more. And the more clients that follow my lead and see the results, the more it validates. And the one thing I can say is this: I do the same work for almost all my clients, but not all my clients do the same work in the sense of I can give you the Ferrari, But if you don't take it on the track and test drive it, then you're not going to become a great driver. I have some clients that I give the Ferrari and they leave it parked in the garage and then like say, this didn't work. No, it's user error, right? And that's really what it comes down to, because every client that actually does what I say and implements it 100% sees the same success. Now, I will also say some clients implement, but they don't implement 100% accurately. They implement 70% accurately, so they see 70% of the results. And that's something I really want to highlight because it's like a recipe. You're baking a cake. If you do not follow the recipe exactly the way it says, the cake will not come out the same. You can't just like, I'm just going to switch the sugar and the salt. I did it 90% the same. It is not going to work. And in business, it is the same thing. And like over the years, I've just realized like, man, I have to figure out a way to support my clients more and more and more and more and actually doing what I say. Not just like, oh, Ray, that was so great. Thank you. Yes, it feels good. I love it, but I don't care how much you loved it. I care if you actually do it, because if you actually do it, I know for a fact you're going to see the results, and you have to do it exactly the way I've given it to you. And that seems to be a challenge that a lot of people have.
Accountability. Absolutely. Which is really interesting too, because over the years, as you've grown your business and you've become more successful and your clients have become more successful, you have also committed to helping a very, very special non-for-profit be very successful as well. And you actually take a portion of your business profits and give back to an organization that you're very passionate about. Do you want to speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. So I believe in tithing. I've been giving my 10% back to church for a while, but I also believe in just continuously giving. It's actually my love language. Giving or gift giving is my love language. So I realized that it's actually probably easier for me than for a lot of other people because it's how I show love. So I'm a huge giver. Like that's just what I do. And I used to personally give back. And then maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I said, okay, I don't want to just personally give back. I want my company to give back, not just Rey Perez. So everything that comes through my company, I want to give back a portion, not just what Rey Perez takes home. And then maybe 3 years ago, I said, okay, I don't want to just have my company give back. I want to have my company lead with giving. So we've changed out how we set up our goals. Instead of saying, okay, this year we want to create X amount of revenue for the company, instead we changed it to this year we want to give X amount. Therefore, we need to make X amount to be able to give that much
That's a
back.
big difference, and that's a big driver.
Huge difference. And then about a year ago, I was like, man, I want to give more, but there's only so much I can do by myself or through my company. So I said, how can I get my clients and followers and tribe to start giving? Because their giving that I inspire is a ripple effect of my giving, right? So then I'm serving more people. And I thought to myself, maybe, or not maybe, most people do not necessarily have my exact same love language. And even though people always want to do good and want to give back, there's probably a lot of excuses that they have of why they don't. Whether they don't have the budget, times are tough, they just can't right now, yada, 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 yada. So I said, okay, how can I get these entrepreneurs to give more? And it goes back to the Bible, which is by giving, you shall receive. So if I want them to give, well, then I got to think about what will they receive. So we created what's called our socially conscious business partnership program. And this partnership program is all about getting our entrepreneurial clients to become socially conscious by giving back.
Mhm.
And when they give back, they collect hearts. So instead of just giving dollars, they're getting hearts. And as they collect more hearts, we give them branding and marketing services that will promote their business in the marketplace as a socially conscious business. So I don't care if people do it because it's going to benefit their company, it's going to make them more money, it's going to build their authority, it's going to build their influence, or they're doing it because they want to give back. I just care that they do it, and I just know that when people are incentivized to receive something for donation or for giving, they're more likely to do it. And we don't just ask for donations and for financial, monetary, what we refer to as treasure. We also ask people to donate their time and their talent. Some people don't have the funds, but they do have time, or they do have a service that they provide, which we refer to as talent that they can provide. So they collect these hearts or love points for their time, talent, and treasure. And as the love points accumulate, for every like 1,000 or 2,000 they get, we unlock these different marketing services that they would technically pay for anyway, and now it benefits their business as well.
Awesome. Awesome. I love that you systematize this as well, and it helps everyone. One of the things that I like mentioning, when you're making a decision, it has to benefit you, the counterparty, and the universe. And when it does that, you're on the right track. You've made the right decision. And out of curiosity, before we end our podcast today, I'm curious to see what your thoughts are between spirituality and religion. And do they mesh together? Are they completely separate? What are your thoughts?
That's actually a really great question, because I think there's a lot of people that are lost in that range between the two. And I think, or I feel that it comes from being put in a religion when they were younger and not enjoying it or rejecting it, and then like turning it away as they become older, which is something I did, being raised Catholic, and then right after and going to private Catholic school from kindergarten all the way to my senior year of high school. Once I got into college, I was like, I'm never going to church ever again in my life. Screw this. I'm never kneeling. I'm never dressing up. I'm never doing any of that. And it was for several years that I refused, unless it was like a baptism or something in my family, and I'd show up late. So I'd skip service and just be there to take pictures. I would call myself spiritual. And I think a lot of people do this. I'm spiritual. I have my own connection with God. I pray and talk to him in my own place, and I do my own things, which there's nothing wrong with doing that. I actually encourage people to have their own relationship with God and communicate directly with him. But there is a huge missing factor with only being spiritual and having your own relationship with God, and that's called community. Because we are not put on this planet to do life alone. We're put on this planet to do life with others. And if you go back, way back in time, you would not survive on this planet if you did not have a tribe. If you were all out alone, you're going to freeze, you're going to starve, or you're going to get eaten. Now, in these times, we're not worried about any of that. So yeah, we can be alone. But the reality is that is not how we were created to be. And if you consider, when someone is depressed, someone has a problem and is scared and is having issues, what do? They create confinement, and they go and they put themselves alone. And that is exactly what the enemy wants, so that he can come to steal, kill, and destroy. He wants to get you alone. He wants to mess you up. He wants you to have no support system, because that's how he gets to do what he does. And I think a lot of people who call themselves spiritual or has some type of anti-religion because of how they were raised are missing that important part. Your life depends on you doing life in community, and that's being your spiritual practice also in community. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to be practicing a certain religion per se, but you definitely need to be worshiping, and you need to be serving in community, not just alone by yourself. And I've done a lot of studying, not only of different religions, but of actual spiritual science. And this really goes back all the way to the modern mystery school, which is one of the 7 mystery schools left on the planet. And this is one of the only documented, like actual legitimate, has a lineage that goes back over 3,000 years to King Solomon, which is known as one of the wisest and richest kings ever. And King Solomon, what he did is that he brought all the priests and all the highest educated people that had all the different things back then, brought him to his kingdom to learn about their process, their system, how they preached, how they connected with source and all of that. And he had a very interesting process. What King Solomon did is he said, okay, I want to learn everything, every single possible way that there is to connect with my higher self and source or God. But if it works for everyone, I will keep it and I will adopt it. But if it only works for a certain group of people, then I'm throwing it out. He was only interested in global, universal principles that would support all humanity, not just the chosen people or this, blood or anything like that. And through these 3,000 years of generation, this lineage has been passed down. There is actual teachings of where we came from, not just what the Bible and religion teaches us, but really, how the hell did we get here? Like, where did we come from? What is our purpose of being here? What are we here to actually do? And how do we find that? And how do we interact? And where do we go after here? That is actually all available. And I've had the blessing to be able to go through this. And it's cool because after I took this course, I realized that after 40 plus years of my life, I've been gathering all these little pieces of information and putting them in my bag. But it's just all these pieces of information. There's no clarity. And for the first time ever in my life, I saw the whole map. I saw the whole puzzle piece, the whole finished puzzle, and started to understand. Even though I don't have all the pieces of the puzzle, I realized this is the big picture of what it looks like. And I'm going to be honest, I think a very tiny percentage of the human population has this knowledge and experience and access, even though it's accessible to you. And if you're watching this, you can actually reach out to me and I'll connect you. But most people are not aware of it, don't have the access, or not even open-minded enough to even explore it, which goes back to what I said at the very beginning: flexibility, open-mindedness, and constantly being in integrity.
Rey, it is an absolute pleasure. And I love that you have passion for everything that you talked about, whether it's business, your personal life, giving back, growing in your spirituality. And I think it's very, very clear also what our next podcast is going to be. But in the meantime, before we do that, tell our viewers and listeners where the best place to reach you at is and explore more about what you're doing.
Absolutely. And if you don't mind, would it be okay if I give your listeners a gift?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So if you're listening to this podcast or watching the interview and the recording, I want you to open up a webpage and go to rayperez360.com. It's actually right up here if you're watching the screen, rayperez360.com. And when you get there, there's going to be a little contact button. When you click that contact button, at the top, it'll say send text. Text me your full name and your best email. And let me know that you heard me on Marta's podcast. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my team send you my full presentation on how to generate more leads, convert more sales, and build a list so that you can have raving fans for you and your business at free of charge. This is something I train and I teach, and it's a paid, but because you're listening to this podcast, it's my gift. Go to rayperez360.com, click that contact button, send text, send me your full name and your best email, and I'll go ahead and gift that to you just for being a part of this show.
Beautiful. Rey Perez, thank you so much. And until next time.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode. May this discussion serve as a gentle reminder that living a fulfilling and purposeful life is possible. Take charge of your life right now by cultivating relationships, drawing inspiration, nurturing love, and expanding income streams. Visit livelifewealthier.com for additional conversations that will provide you with life-altering aha moments. That's all I have for now. Until the next time, take care.